All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something incredibly specific, the modern psychological manifestations of Rahu in the sixth house. If you're at all fascinated by the extremes of human behavior, you're gonna love this. It's a completely eye-opening journey into a highly driven, almost relentless mindset.
So here's the absolute core of it. This placement is entirely defined by an intense, restless drive for productivity that shapes literally every aspect of a person's life. We're not just talking about liking a clean desk or checking boxes off a to-do list, right? We're talking about a fundamental, deep-seated obsession, where productivity becomes the lens through which you view your entire existence. Your routines aren't just schedules. They are restless, ever-evolving experiments.
Now, just a quick framing note before we really get going. We are looking at this through the lens of modern behavioral psychology. Actually, scratch that. It's really about dissecting the restless achiever archetype, exploring their behavioral patterns, and zeroing in on what actually motivates them rather than focusing on ancient predictive myths.
Okay, Section 1. The productivity obsession, or when improvement completely takes over. I want you to honestly ask yourself for a second. Have you ever felt like your natural, totally healthy desire to better yourself has somehow spiraled out of control, like where it goes from a casual hobby to an absolute all-consuming phase? Well, that is the exact threshold where the psychology of this placement activates. It's that tipping point between wanting to be better and feeling completely consumed by the need to be perfect.
Moving right along to Section 2, relentless self-improvement and the daily grind for perfection. So how does this internal drive show up in the real world? It groups habits together in three distinct ways. First up, you've got constant self-improvement, turning every single day into a personal challenge. You aren't just living, you're competing against yesterday's version of yourself. Second, health and fitness goals don't just stay goals, they become massive, all-consuming phases. And third, you're constantly hacking your own routines. It's like treating your morning schedule like a science experiment, just to find that ultimate flawless sequence to your day.
Next up, let's transition to Section 3, the workplace warrior. Winning, competing, and growing.
You know that feeling of clocking out? Yeah, if you have this psychological profile, that doesn't really happen. That intense desire to win at work basically short-circuits the brain's ability to just relax at the end of the day. You leave the office, but the office sure doesn't leave you. You're still strategizing, still planning, still trying to secure that victory while you're eating dinner, brushing your teeth, or just lying awake in bed. And when you zoom in on the actual office environment, it's fascinating. There's this competitiveness with coworkers that just quietly fuels your success. Think about that micro scenario for a second. You might not be outwardly arrogant or aggressively cutthroat, but inside, there is a quiet internal competitiveness acting as this massive, invisible engine driving you forward. You see a peer succeed, and your immediate internal response is, okay, I need to level up. Now, what's really wild is the stark contrast in how conflict is processed here. For most of us, conflict is a total drain, right? It's stressful, it's something to avoid. But for this mindset, conflict is literally a catalyst for growth. Instead of running away or shrinking back, this mindset uses tension as a tool for expansion. A disagreement at work or a hurdle in a project isn't a roadblock. It's basically just raw material to build a much stronger strategy.
Let's take a step back and look inward. Section 4, the perfectionist mind and the search for inefficiencies.
Have you ever found yourself in a perfectly fine situation, but your brain is just scanning the room for something, anything to optimize or fix? Because this mind continuously searches for inefficiencies even when everything is functioning beautifully. You could be on a completely relaxing vacation and your brain is quietly optimizing the hotel's breakfast buffet layout because the toaster is too far from the bagels. It's just an automatic, unrelenting background process.
And because of that constant radar, small problems receive enormous attention until they become absolute missions to solve. Tiny, completely insignificant issues are magnified into massive crusades. A slight squeak in a door hinge, a microscopic formatting error in a spreadsheet, a perfectly fine email draft that could be just a little bit punchier. These aren't just annoyances. In this mindset, they are unacceptable flaws in the system that must be eradicated immediately.
So how does this mind learn something new? Well, it activates this relentless cyclical machine. Step 1, you target a difficult skill. Step 2, you apply relentless, and I mean relentless, repetition. And step 3, you persist until mastery is completely achieved. It's not really about natural talent at all. It's like a giant puzzle you're brute forcing your way through. It's a highly effective, albeit totally exhausting, machine.
All right, Section 5.
Let's slow things down a bit and talk about the cost of usefulness and the psychological toll.
Because here is the heavy reality of being a relentless achiever. That constant need to stay useful, it creates this deep, heavy guilt around simply resting. Think about the emotional burden of that for a second. When your entire identity is wrapped up in productivity and fixing inefficiencies, sitting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing feels like a profound failure. You feel like you're wasting time, failing a challenge, or slipping behind in that quiet competition we talked about earlier.
Which brings us to the ultimate paradox of productivity. I want to leave you with this lingering thought as we wrap up our explainer today. If you are constantly searching for inefficiencies, always turning your hobbies into challenges, and always trying to fix the world around you, when do you finally rest? Is the goal of productivity to eventually find peace, or does the obsession with productivity ensure that peace is the one thing you can never actually achieve? Take a moment to think about that and how you balance the drive to improve with the simple permission to just be.